Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Again, welcome to everyone in attendance. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on your time zone. My name is Kevin Morris. I will be hosting today's Jurny Investor webinar. I'm an advisor to the company. Today we have Jason Lopez, Senior Director of Business Development for Jurny, and we have our co-founder and CEO, Luca Zambello. Guys, thanks for joining us today. Luca, I know you're in a way different time zone. Why don't you tell everyone where you're at?
Yeah, right now I'm in Europe. I've been traveling quite a bit.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, and Jason, where are you calling in from today?
I am based in Miami, Florida. So excited about this one. Happy to be here today. Excited
Awesome.
to get into this.
Great. Well, yeah, welcome everyone. I know a few of you are still shuffling in. A couple updates. So we're going to be doing a bit of a different format today, more of a Q&A format. We want to hear from Jason and Luca as to how things have been going with the company. During the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions. At the end of the sort of pre-planned discussion, we will open up the floor and we will field some of those questions. There's a button on the bottom right part of your screen that says questions. You can ask them there, and then we will try and get to as many as possible. Before we start with our first sort of discussion topic, I want to remind everyone that Jurny right now is raising capital on Start Engine. You can visit invest.jurny.com or startengine.com/Jurny, Jurny, where you can invest. Tomorrow, we do have a time-based bonus that ends. So if you invest by 8:30 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, depending on the amount you invest, you're eligible to earn bonus shares. So I'll send some more. I'll send a reminder and talk about this at the end of the webinar as well. But it's great timing if you're interested in investing in Jurny. So with that, let's get into it. So Jason and Luca, what's been new with Jurny? How have things been? I'm curious to know more about the type of feedback you've been getting from customers, since it seems, based on the numbers, that demand continues to surge.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, the biggest thing probably that we're excited about is our user base has skyrocketed by 625%, which is obviously huge. Customers are really excited about the product, seeing immediate results using Jurny, leading to obviously more usage on the platform, more organic growth, word of mouth. All of that is amplifying our reach and our customer base. So we're super excited about that. Our Net Promoter Score, our NPS, basically is an indicator of how satisfied customers are and loyalty. And our NPS has skyrocketed as well to over 60. I think we're at a 63 now. And just for context, tech and SaaS companies usually see an average between 30 to 40. So scores above that are obviously very good. Scores above 50 are considered excellent. So we're very proud of that. Also super cool to see Capterra and Software Advice recognizing Jurny as one of the top vacation rental softwares on the market. For those that don't know, Capterra and Software Advice are owned by G2, and they're pretty much the most highly respected software review companies out there. So all of that, is kind of a testament to what we're doing, to our mission, and again, couldn't be more excited about it.
Nice. How did 2023 end up, and what are you sort of feeling about how 2024 is starting and how you think it'll finish? I know we're only in early March, but wanted to hear your thoughts on this year as well.
Yeah, 2023 was great. We grew a ton, processed over 35 million in bookings through our platform. We have thousands of units live on our platform in over 250 cities around the world. Based on last year's numbers, and actually based on Q1 already, we're outpacing any quarter that we had last year. So we're anticipating conservatively 2 to 3x growth on our core SaaS product for this year.
Wow, that's great. That's exciting. Do you think there's any sort of do you think it's just increased traction marketing that sort of caused such a spike in Q1, and where do you think that's been coming from?
Yeah, actually, interestingly enough, we've shrinked our marketing budget quite a bit. So there's been a lot of word of mouth and a lot of organic growth. So we're extremely excited about that, and I think a big contributor factor. I say the two biggest contributor factors of this is one, obviously the quality of the product and the client's experience with the product, and the second one is doing crowdfunding. It's been a great. It's just been great overall because we create a much bigger sense of community. A lot of our customers end up investing, which makes them feel like they're more parts of the product. We also really increase our efforts to make customers contribute in our roadmap, and so we start running surveys on which features we want to develop, which we should be putting first, and I think that's helping a lot to create this community that is helping us grow.
That's great. Yeah, it's neat to see the halo effect from your equity crowdfunding efforts and the amount of interest you've gotten on the product and business side. So good to hear. So Luca, you mentioned sort of as a follow-up question, product. You guys continue to enhance your product. What are your sort of top few priorities for the team from a product perspective this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously there's a constant improvements of the system and adding regular features, but there's also a bigger picture component that at Jurny, I think that's what's very unique about Jurny and what we've been going after, which is really elevating the seamlessness and the automations that we can provide to our customers, and really leveraging the power of AI to do that. We have seen a tremendous amount of progress, both in general within the AI industry, but very specifically, and we're going to go in more details later and show you a little bit of insiders information, a little bit of the products of what we're developing, but really, really game-changing tools that the industry has not seen before. And that's because thanks to AI. And I think AI is going to change many things. So obviously, everybody is talking a lot about AI and how it's going to revolutionize many industries. But what we can see applicable to us, it's pretty mind-blowing. A couple of things that we see changing, and we see that being the future. One is the usability of product and how you're going to be using this large software that help you manage your business. In this case, obviously, we do it for hospitality, but how you interact with these softwares is going to be a lot more a chat type of interactions of being like, hey, block this calendar dates. Hey, move this reservation from this day to this day. This is something that we're seeing happening and being pretty big. And we want to implement that alongside with another product we're very excited, which is going to be our host app. I know a lot of people ask, we do have a mobile app right now, it's live, but it's for guests. We do not have a host app, and that's something that we're releasing this year. And so that in conjunction with what we call a Nia Copilot, which is kind of this new way of interacting with the software, helps you like really simplify a lot of complicated processes and automate a lot of processes. And with the last but not least component, which is kind of all these components need to come together for us to really show the big pictures of where we're going. It's our next gen unified inbox. Obviously, we already have a unified inbox. We already unify messaging from different channels like VRBO, Airbnb, Booking.com, WhatsApp, text messaging, all into a single platform. But it is already AI enabled, but we are really taking that to the next level with different agents. And I don't want to get into too much details because we're going to talk about it a little bit later. But the agent side of things and different AI agents talking to one another and working together for bigger projects and more precisions, it's one of the things that we're the most excited about.
Gotcha. That's neat. Yeah. Nia's a fun tool. I'm excited to see that progress as well. So talking about Nia and your AI, I feel like, and you can probably answer this, but your short-term rental hosts or managers or the owners, they go in a few buckets. There's ones that have lots of properties and they're sort of overwhelmed, and so instantly see how Jurny and your AI especially can help them. Then you have some hosts that have one or two locations, and they may not necessarily see the need for the AI now because they need the help, but they're not like, their head's not, their hair, I don't have any hair, but their hair's not on fire because they're busy. Is that something where, do you find that the average sort of 1 to 2 unit short-term rental host is intimidated with your AI software, or are they enthusiastic about the potential for that software to help them scale their business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, the size of it, has not been a direct correlation so much with how much they're using AI. It's more of like the early adopters and not. We're definitely at the early adopter stage for this type of technology. And what we see is a small percentage of users really leveraging AI. Obviously, we have a very good comprehensive product. So the AI component, it's a big component, and it's an indirect component for many features. So people are using it without really knowing. But obviously, there's like the pros, right? And there's a lot of things that you can do to optimize those AI tools and fully leverage them. And that's obviously a smaller percentage of people that can do that. But that's simply because we're in the early stages. And I think, like every industry, when it's early, you're going to have just very few people that are going to become expert at it. And then you're going to see a big wave afterwards. And what makes the difference of the big wave coming afterwards is going to be when the majority of people are sitting on the sideline, or they're not taking really the time to learn it, they start seeing that not learning that type of technology, it puts you very, very far behind. It's just very simple, like there are many hotels that refuse for a long time to do anything online, right? Mm-hmm. To post to OTAs, to have a website for direct bookings. Eventually, they had to do it, because if you didn't do it, you would just go out of business. This is going to be even more. So actually, that's where the opportunity is, and that's what makes us very extremely excited, because there's not enough people already seeing this, and especially on the software side, because it's not yet a customer demand. Other softwares are not building it, or they're just building some of it just to claim that they have some AI components, but they're not really looking at the big picture. We started working on this technology like years ago, right? Way before anybody start talking about it, way before AI started becoming like a buzzword and people they're just overusing it just to say that they're doing AI. And that's what's making us very excited, because we're going to be at the right place at the right time. When everybody realizes that they have to jump on this, it's going to be too late, and we're going to be way ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It's oh, sorry, Jason, were you going to say something, or I know you? I know we're going to.
I was going to add.
Yeah, go for it. No, yeah.
I was going to compliment. Yeah, what Luca was saying, just that one of the things I don't think people realize is how quickly this technology is evolving. Just a couple of days ago, Anthropic, which is like a competitor to OpenAI, released some notes on a test that they did with one of their models, their newest model, called the needle in the haystack test. And basically, what they do is they give it a large data set, and they ask it a very specific question. And inside of that data set, they include like one sentence about pizza toppings, and the rest of it is all about like programming. And the AI was able to correctly answer the question about the pizza toppings, but it suspected, and it actually answered saying that it suspected it was a test for the AI. So like people don't even realize how quickly it's evolving, and it's even able to like infer these little things that you wouldn't really think an AI is able to do, but it's getting there very, very quickly. So to Luca's point, I think the early movers and adopters are going to be the biggest winners.
Yeah. And before, I know we want to share some of the AI live. Before we get into that, sort of final thoughts on that, what are some of the other biggest opportunities you see today in AI, both in general and within sort of the short-term rental hospitality industry?
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest opportunities that I see is the fact that, kind of like to build up on what I was saying before, not enough people are really looking at this with the right lens. There's so much of like just saying that you're doing AI, but really like understanding that this technology, yes, one is developing and evolving very fast, but two, it's already here. if you know how to properly create and build an infrastructure, and that's the thing, that another point that I noticed this even going like many conferences, talking to other tech providers, people are not looking ahead. You have to really start building the infrastructures today, or it's going to be too late. One of the things, for instance, that Jurny has done different from everybody else was centralizing data into a single place, right? Like, so obviously we build many features. They're all proprietary to ours. 80% of the system is, but we also select the best in class and plug that in all into a single system. We did that for a few reasons. One, obviously, was the usability, because now as a user, you can control everything from a single dashboard versus everything fragmented in many different platforms. But we did that also for an even more important reason that people are yet to see, but it will come. And this is, and I'll give you a very practical example. So let's say that tomorrow there's a capability of developing an AI that already outperform or is equal like humans' capability, and you can have different agents that have different capabilities matching humans. So you can have a whole team of AIs, which we're very, very close to that, by the way. Even if you have that functioning today, it will be useless for majority of the industry because the infrastructure is not built. If you don't have a centralized data system like we do, you can have the most powerful AI ever, but it won't be able to take any actions. Just like a user today in any other PMS beside ours cannot take actions on third-party platforms and solutions, AI will also not be able to do that. And that's very, very exciting, because that infrastructure took us years to build. So it's not something that somebody can do overnight. So that to me, it's extremely exciting. That alongside with specialized agents, which is, I mean, I don't hear enough people talking about this and how crazy it is, because everybody's like, yeah, you don't want to put things in the hands of AI. And I agree with some things today, probably don't. But very, very soon that's going to change. And what people don't talk about is that AI is not good at doing generic things. So being a precise and accurate ChatGPT, it's extremely hard. But if you give it a limited amount of data in a specific database, asking it to be precise for that and training it to do a specific job is so much easier. And we're already doing that, and we're seeing insane results, which actually, little spoiler, we're going to be showing a little bit of that, how we are leveraging these agents. But this is what's game changing. And I say, like, even, and I say to everybody, it's like, when people talk about AI, what are they really talking about? What are they doing? What are they developing? This is true groundbreaking AI and ways of leveraging it, and a long-term vision that started many years ago.
Great. Wow. I think let's get in there. Let's look at the product live. Before, I think, Jason, you're going to be walking through it. Before we do that, just a reminder, people on the call, our attendees, we'll have the ability to do a Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. There's a questions button at the bottom right of your screen. You can go in and submit questions, and we will try and get to as many as possible. So just a reminder to do that. All right, Jason, you want to see, can we see some of the AI and the product in action? Awesome.
Yes, we can. All right, so I'm going to keep it pretty high level and focus on the AI mainly. But what you guys are looking at here is our dashboard when you first log in. There's some really nice reporting here for all of the short-term rental hosts, operators, property managers that they can just see at a glance. All of the revenue, bookings, inquiries, occupancy, average daily rate, RevPAR. So all of the important metrics here. Off to the right, you have your messaging. So this is your unified inbox. Luca was talking about this. I think we actually already have one of the best unified inboxes in the industry. Most of them don't offer, for example, SMS or WhatsApp functionality, which we do. On top of that, we've embedded our AI. So what you're seeing here is a communication with a guest, and our AI Nia is pre-populating a response for you on your behalf. So typically with these larger companies, what you see is they have maybe a team of virtual assistants or something that are handling guest communications on their behalf. And sometimes it leaves a little bit to be desired. But using something like this, where you have an AI pre-populating those responses for you, Again, the AI has access to all of the information in the system because it's a centralized system, the way that Luca was describing earlier. So it's very, very accurate in that regard. And this is a huge time saver because oftentimes you're getting a lot of the same questions and messages from guests. What's the Wi-Fi password? Where's the parking? What are my check-in instructions? Things like that. So the AI does a fantastic job of speeding up those response times and being very accurate and, of course, grammatically correct with all of those. This can be automated. You can turn on the autopilot and just have it not only pre-populate the response, but actually go ahead and send it as well. So that is an option. Another place where the AI is active is in the reviews here. So you have all of your reviews, and you can go ahead and respond to these reviews using AI. So in this case, give me one sec. Let me pull up another one. So I'm going to pull up here we go, a review that we can respond to. And you can see this has Tara here left a review. You can click generate with Nia, and this will generate a totally custom response to this review on your behalf. So this is another place where the AI is active, and you can also see it's doing a sentiment analysis of the review and giving you the positive keywords that were mentioned in there. In this case, it was cozy and location. This process can also be automated, so you can speed it up very, very quickly and not have to worry about leaving responses to your reviews. Now, Luca also talked about AI agents that we are building out and very, very close to releasing. So one of them is the data scientist. And you can see here we have this data scientist. You can give it a prompt. For example, in this case, I have a prompt already, kind of pre-populated, which is show me the ADR for 3-bedroom downtown home and pets parking. This is one of the properties here. And within a few seconds, you will get a response from the AI like this with, in this case, it's a bar graph showing us for 2024 here for the first 3 months of the year, what the average daily rates are for this property. So very, very powerful in terms of data analysis, and having just kind of data at your fingertips. You can see here, the analysis by the AI as well. And then the last thing that I want to share with everyone here, which is super exciting.
You even go there. I just wanted to share, like, this is kind of what we're talking about, that the future, or where we see softwares in general, but this is definitely where Jurny is going to be one of the first, not just in our industry, but in general, is to leveraging AI to really have a team of people that can help you, just like you had people working for you. Like in this case, obviously, it's the data analyst. So you can ask analytical questions about your specific data. We have all this data centralized, so we can help you make more sense of to the data that you have right in front of you. This is pretty groundbreaking, game-changing technology, because it's going to change how you interact with data and what you can do with it. And it's not going to be limited by the UI UX that software have, that just to do like a simple feature like this, right, to speed up like average ADR, takes days, if not weeks, of development from a development team. And here is simply the imagination of the users asking different questions and leveraging data in different ways. And what's even more game-changing is what I think Jason is about to show you, which is how these agents can even talk to one another to come with better decisions and better critical thinking and more precise answers.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't agree more. So to Luca's point, this was a simple example, just average daily rates, but you can ask, an AI like this to spot trends over historical periods of time and things like that. So, many use cases for this. And yes, the more specialized that the AI is, then the better, the better it's going to be at the given task. So what we want to share with you is this quick screen recording here where you can see this is you saw the pre-populated responses from Nia just a few minutes ago. You can see here, this guest is asking about a late checkout. It's asking about restaurants in the area and if there's availability, 4 days from now. And what you can see here is that we've actually created and trained 6 different AI agents in this case that are all jumping in to compose that one pre-populated response that you see in the background there. So there's a property agent that's being used here. There's an availability agent. There's a local expertise agent. There's a QA agent for quality assurance. The property agent here is being consulted twice, as well as the availability agent, because sometimes the answer may not be, once it hits the QA agent, it may not be appropriate or up to par. So then it gets kicked back to the property agent to dig in deeper. And so these agents are literally talking to each other, as Luca was describing, to be able to compose the perfect response for that message for that guest. So this is where we start to see, really crazy results in terms of like even surpassing human, what you would typically have on the human side in terms of guest experience, in terms of accuracy, response times, and even, in cases where maybe you need to deliver news that isn't the best to the guest, the AI does a really, really fantastic job of doing that.
Nice, very cool. Well, thanks for the demo. I'm wondering internally at Nia, do you refer, is it a she, he? There's no, do you refer to Nia as your friend internally? Oh, Nia's doing a great job, or oh, Nia's asleep on the job. Not that it would be, but what's the banter like?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yes.
we refer to her as she, but there's now Nia has many different personalities and personas. So there's many different Nias. There's Nia agents, Nia analysts, Nia QA. And I think I want to add one more thing actually to what Jason said is that, and to fully address even your first question is that the people that are currently leveraging our inbox, and this is like not even the elevated inbox, we just show you a little quick demo of what the next gen is going to be, and it's like light years ahead or even what it is right now. People that set up our inbox today can already achieve upwards of 90% accuracy and 80% improvements in response time. This is without turning on auto response. And again, I don't think people will turn on auto response until we achieve 99.5, 99 above accuracy. But with the next gen that we're releasing, this is going to happen, which means that you're going to have a first barrier of defense as a host, in which you don't have to handle conversations because the AI is going to do it for you. And you can customize tonality, how to specifically answer and learn from your previous past questions. It's pretty game changing on where this is going.
That's cool. Very neat. Very neat. Moving on, and then we'll wrap it up and have some time for questions. Again, everyone, as a reminder, there's a questions button at the bottom right of the screen where we'll try and get to as many as possible. So last time we spoke, everyone always asked about potential exit. That's sort of on everyone's mind. This is an investment opportunity. We, of course, can't promise anything, but I know there's been, some movement in the space. You guys had talked about a goal of going public one day. Obviously, there's a lot of options. Is that still the case, especially given some of the stuff we've seen in the M&A space recently with short-term rentals and AI? I think the most notable is Airbnb acquiring GamePlanner.ai in November of last year. How have your thoughts changed on that in terms of the space, exits, M&A, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, from a finance standpoint, like just looking at economics, an economic picture outside of us, I'll just exclude ourselves for a second. It's extremely exciting to see that obviously investment excitement on AI it's growing rapidly, right? We saw, like you just said, the Airbnb $200 million acquisition on a very early stage startup in AI in travel. We saw that with obviously the explosion of NVIDIA. And if you look at where we are today right now, it's very much resembling the very beginning of the dot-com bubble. That to me obviously has changed a little bit our view on how we see the future and how aggressive we want to be, because we think there's really massive opportunities here. For one, from a financial standpoint, and two, obviously from economic standpoint, and two, obviously from a technology standpoint. Like we see the results of what this technology can do today, and so we definitely see us being a little bit more aggressive than we originally wanted to be. Just because, I mean, to give a little bit of background on myself, but I always run profitable businesses. So I'm not used to so heavily invest and take the venture route, just like maybe some founders that I've always run unprofitable businesses. So it comes a little bit more on the natural side. But I can also understand that here the opportunity is massive, and moving slower, it's going to be more expensive in the long run. And because of those reasons, we really think that the possibly a publicly traded route going IPO, it can be much sooner rather than later, especially if the heat in the industry is going to keep growing the way it is.
Got it. Great. A few more questions here. We have a lot of new people, I think, on the webinar, given that we've launched on Start Engine, so a lot of new eyeballs. So thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm sure a lot of you are asking about how Jurny is different from some of maybe your closest competitors in the market. So one question I have is, how are you differentiated from the likes of Guesty, HomeAway? And sort of related to that, do you see some of these legacy platforms and tools becoming less prominent in the coming years because of all the possibilities with AI and automation?
The beautiful thing is a lot of these people didn't plan for this. So it's going to have to be an adaptation versus we were born with this in mind from day one. That's going to make a massive difference. And for some of the reasons that I mentioned really before, is developing the infrastructure is going to be nearly almost impossible for existing competitors. It's going to be much more likely to happen from brand new players, which also means that it's going to take a very long time for them in order to catch up. The biggest problems of competitions out there, like the Guesty of the situation, although they have raised hundreds of millions of dollars in close to unicorn status, their biggest problem is their marketplaces. So their idea is like, do not develop deep API integrations, but just have a marketplace of as many solutions as possible. Obviously, it comes with the advantage of more customization, but we have counter arguments on that, on why that also has proven not to be good and not to be reliable. In the end of the day, people in the industry want a reliable system. But the biggest issue that they're going to encounter is that it's basically impossible to leverage the full power of AI when you have a fragmented system. And like they do, all our major competitors do. So that makes us very excited about the future.
Wow, exciting stuff. That's super cool. So last question, and then we'll open up the floor. You know, there's the stock market has been sort of on a tear recently. I think NVIDIA is obviously in everyone's mind, and I wish I had bought in earlier. I did not, but that's okay. Why do you guys view investing in private AI companies like Jurny, and there's others, but obviously Jurny is what we're focused on today. Why is that? Do you view that's more appealing compared to people investing in sort of traditional public tech companies that are obviously much bigger? And
being such an early industry, and being the fact that there's really kind of like two plays here. There's more than two, but like for the sake of simplifying things, I'm gonna just make it really into buckets. You have kind of like the LLMs, or generally speaking, this large AI models, that to be developed, you need a stupid amount of resources, right? So that's a game that only ultra venture-backed or like publicly traded company with stupid amount of liquidity can play, right? So Apple, Google, Microsoft, and a few others that started earlier can play that game. And then you have, I'll put a third bucket. You have obviously the hardware component. Also, it's going to be very rare to see like brand new companies starting in that space, although there's going to be a couple, but it's not going to be like you're going to see hundreds of companies, right? Because both of those take insane amount of resources. And that's what's being publicly traded today. So you're not going to see really opportunities on that side, in my opinion, unless, yeah, of course, there's still opportunities that still go up, but you're not going to see much more. What's more exciting to me is companies that are developing, and I put Jurny into it, but there's going to be many more, that don't require nearly as much capital as developing an LLM, but are developing infrastructure to properly leverage this LLM and properly train them to do specific tasks. That's where I see the biggest opportunity to be. Obviously, I know, for instance, like Rad AI is a good friend of mine, Jeremy, is also doing a crowdfunding, and there's going to be, in my opinion, more and more of these companies that are going to start doing crowdfundings. In my opinion, those are much more attractive opportunities. Even like if I was an outside investor, obviously I'm biased because I'm the co-founder of Jurny, but that's where I would be looking if I was an investor outside of Jurny into like private companies that are much earlier, because the upside is going to be much bigger. Before you're going to see those companies being publicly traded, it's going to take at least another year or two. And when you're going to see them being publicly traded, they're going to be at, I guarantee you, much higher valuation than you will see today. And so the opportunity is going to be almost too late already then.
Yeah, it's the equity crowdfunding opportunity, which is still relatively fresh. I mean, it's been around for a few years. Really does give the general public the ability to invest on sort of the ground floor of lots of exciting opportunities. Again, can't ever promise any sort of return, but in the past you wouldn't be able to do this. And there's a lot of great AI opportunities out there on the public markets, but that's a different investment thesis and a different sort of proposition. So yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. So why don't we got some time for some questions. I'll sort of take them. And again, reminder, you can put in the questions directly in the bottom right of your screen. One question that we have, just sort of kick things off, is the first one is, I'm new to Jurny and the investment opportunity. Can you walk me through your pricing model? I think we have a lot of new people here, and so this is a good question.
Yes, definitely. So we have a freemium product. So starting from free, and then it goes to $59 and then $99 a month per units per month. And so what that means is actually our most used product is the Pro, so it's the 99 units per month. We obviously offer discounts. So if somebody signs up for a year or they prepay for a year, which actually starting having a lot of those, we offer a lot more aggressive discounts, and then depending on the size of the customers, it can go down. But our Pro package, which includes the entirety of the future sets that Jurny offers, including some of the best-in-class third parties that we include in our platforms, that's the most used product on the premium side. And then obviously we have many thousands of customers using the free accounts. We start seeing the free version is something that we launched just a few months ago. I mean, no, like 8 months ago. We see that performing very well and converting a lot of the free users to premium. So we're extremely excited about that. There's going to be some updates coming there as well. And yeah, so that's the revenue model.
Great. Next question. With your AI being trained across your internal data, what steps are being taken to prevent personal data from being shared in the chat by AI? And is there any other data you're omitting from your training?
Yeah, and I think there's many ways that you do that. Obviously, like some of it is by storing the data safely into a separate database, not providing the data all at once, and also like, there's not a lot of private information that are being shared in order for us to train an agent to answer guest communications. And I could ask the same level of securities of majority of companies, by the way, hire third-party offshore companies to do customer support, which is, in my opinion, a lot less safe than that. And then you can also use the option not to use the trained data that you utilize to be utilized for other people. So we obviously do that. There's not there's really not a lot of proprietary information or private information that are being shared.
Great. Next question. Would you consider RentBerry a competitor of Jurny? If not, would you consider a partnership with RentBerry, and who would you consider as your competitors?
I am not too familiar with RentBerry. Maybe Jason, you are, but I think they are a rental platform, right?
They're more of a long-term focused rental platform, so they're not really a competitor. As far as direct competitors, I wouldn't really say we have any, to be honest. Most of the solutions, Luca hit on this earlier, but most of the solutions in the market are marketplace solutions, which means, you kind of have to piecemeal it together. Whereas, Jurny has taken a totally different approach. Like you sign up with Jurny and you literally have everything you need, out of the box. You don't have to sign up with other vendors. On average, most short-term rental and vacation rental property managers and hosts use 4 to 5 different vendors just to accomplish, what they could be doing with Jurny, for example.
Yeah, and then in the market, we compete right now. And obviously, like as our vision is going to evolve, we're going to be more and more different from those competitors. But the guesty of the situation, so if you want to see, players that have been in the space for a long time, Streamline is another one. So HostAway is another one. So if you guys want to look at those usually PMSs for the short-term rental industry, those are PMSs. We are an OS system, which is a lot more than that. But if you want to see some competitors, that's where you can look.
Next question. How big is your team, and what's the approximate mix by function?
Yeah, it's a good question. We have 25 people in the team. 10 is the dev team. Well, it's actually 11. And then you have about 5 people in the management. And we have a lot of customer success people. They handle support in general, from support from our users all the way to helping users getting onboarded properly and all that. And then obviously we have marketing and sales.
So yeah, actually, this segues into another good question I saw, which was, what training resources do you have available for your customers? Obviously, especially some of these ones who are maybe only have a few properties, they're sort of new to everything. How quickly is it to get set up, and how quickly does it take for somebody to learn all the cool things that you can do?
Since Jason is building, I'll let him answer. I think he's frozen.
I think yeah. Jason,
sorry guys,
we have you back now.
Seems to be. Oh yeah, so our customer success team is obviously critical in that regard. So we have a team of really, really great CS managers and specialists. We have Jurny University, which is full of training resources, articles, videos. We have in-app guides as well, and in-app tooltips that can be used. And one of the agents that we didn't showcase, but I guess we should have, is our NIA Help Desk, which is an AI that is trained on our knowledge base, and it can answer all sorts of different questions for users in the platform.
Great. Well, I think that sort of gets us to time for the webinar. I think before we wrap, sort of final question for you is, tell us more about the investment opportunity. Can Jurny's community invest today? What sort of perks are there, and can any larger investors get directly in contact with you?
Yeah, definitely. We have an email, partners at Jurny, and I think we can share on the chat. If larger investors want to have a chat with me or see even more data, more information about the company, we're happy to share it, and happy to jump on a Zoom with investors. And then I'm pretty active on LinkedIn if you guys want to follow me there as well. We're happy to share even this after the webinar. And If you haven't yet, follow us on Startup Engine, on our Startup Engine page. Make sure we include that also after on the recording, and or invest there.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. And so, yeah, as a reminder, we will be sending out recording and some details via email after the webinar. Tomorrow, if you invest by 8:30 a.m. Pacific, you'll be eligible to earn up to 20% bonus shares based on how much you invest. So we encourage you to get in now while you have this opportunity. And with that, Jason and Luca, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hear more about Jurny from you guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
Kevin.
Thanks, everyone.